We're seeing a significant shift in the Austin real estate market. This video will explore why some of Austin's once hot suburbs are now cooling off rapidly. I'm going to dive into a little bit of changing dynamics, look at migration patterns, inventory levels, and what this means for buyers, sellers, and investors. Understanding these shifts is going to be crucial for making smart buying decisions and selling in today's market. I'm going to uncover some key factors driving these changes and what you need to know to navigate them successfully. I'm Nick Garcia, local Austin, Texas real estate agent. I've closed over $30 million in sales, but more importantly, I love helping people. Let's get into the video. The Austin market overall is definitely shifting, and it's important to understand these foundational changes. We've seen a significant slowdown in migration to the Austin, Round Rock metro area compared to the pandemic boom that we saw during COVID. So people are also moving back towards the city center, reversing a previous trend. Buyers are no longer rushing into purchases. They're taking their time. They want turnkey, which is a big change from 2020 to 2022. And inventory levels are rising across the metro, giving buyers a lot more options and a lot more leverage. In fact, this is the best buyer's market Austin, Texas has ever seen. These shifts set the stage for what we're seeing in specific suburbs. So these market shifts translate into three major signals we're seeing across Austin suburbs. First, homes are taking much longer to sell, with 60 to 90 to even 120 days on market becoming more common, especially if pricing is too high, which 70% of the time it is. Second, inventory is rising, and nearly half of the listings in some areas are considered stale. This means supply is outpacing demand. Third, buyers are very price sensitive. They're less willing to pay above or even close to list price. This reduced competition means buyers are less willing to live far from Austin's core unless the price and house is truly compelling. Now let's look at how these signals play out in specific areas, starting with Manor. Manor was a pandemic boomtown. It got too pricey way too fast. Prices jumped significantly, but infrastructure like roads and schools couldn't keep up. Traffic worsened and commutes became a real problem. Now buyers are demanding closing cost help and price cuts. Homes are taking much longer to sell, and new construction is heavily competing with resale properties. Many early buyers are rethinking their long-term plans and moving closer to Austin, accepting that if they bought between 2021 and 2022, they're going to be underwater as far as how much equity they have in the house versus what the house is actually worth today. This highlights the importance of balanced growth. So I want to next examine Kyle and Buda facing similar but distinct challenges. Kyle and Buda are experiencing what we call the I-35 squeeze. The core problem is the worsening I-35 traffic, making daily commutes a significant burden. Property taxes have risen and schools are becoming more crowded. Residents underestimated the constant impact of I-35 dependency on their daily lives. As a result, days on market are climbing and price reductions are super common. New construction is dominating buyer attention, and first-time home buyers are now prioritizing location over house size, moving closer to Austin proper. This shows how infrastructure can truly impact the market. Next, Leander was a pandemic darling, sweet hotspot. I had clients that were looking at Leander during COVID time, and there was one house that got like 40 offers, another one that got $50,000, $120,000 over ask price. But its outer reaches are now facing a reality check. We're seeing prices jump, but commutes remain long, and some new communities feel isolated. Homes further north are now sitting on the market for 60 to 90 days. Buyers are increasingly choosing closer options like Cedar Park or Round Rock. And new builds are aggressively undercutting resale properties, making it a problem for people that bought in 2021 to 2022. This means if you're looking at Leander, choosing the right micro location is absolutely critical. You need proximity to good schools and freeway access for true long-term value. Now let's shift our focus to Bastrop, another area with its own unique set of challenges. Bastrop offers beautiful scenery and space, but it's also experiencing some growing pains. We're seeing rising home insurance costs with wildfire concerns in certain areas of Bastrop. The longer drives for work and daily activities are also becoming a significant factor. Homes are sitting longer and price cuts are becoming the new normal. Some residents are even moving back towards Austin or the I 35 corridor. However, there's still some strong long term value in select subdivisions, especially those close to Highway 71 with good access that aren't so far out to I 71 where it takes Highway 71, where it takes 15 to 20 minutes just to get to I 71 and then another 40 minutes to get into Austin. So the next town is Georgetown, where distance is becoming a big issue. You see a pattern here, distance is a problem with the commute into Austin. So Georgetown has its charm, but the further north you go, the more distance becomes an issue. So we're seeing significant distance from Austin's employment centers, making daily commutes more challenging. This leads to slower appreciation in far north sections compared to closer areas. Homes priced above market are sitting longer, and buyers are unwilling to stretch their commute further north. So demand remains strong closer to I-35 or Highway 29, but it drops off significantly in the farther out communities. This really highlights how microlocation matters immensely here. Now let's turn our attention to Pflugerville, an area caught between growth and growing pains. Pflugerville has always been a dependable little suburb decently close to Austin. But rapid growth is creating pressure and buyer hesitation. So we're seeing infrastructure playing catch up with the rapid population growth. School crowding in certain areas is also a concern, and older homes often require more investment than newer builds. Buyers are becoming increasingly more picky, and appreciation is slowing compared to closer in suburbs. However, homes in walkable and or more established neighborhoods still perform pretty well in Pflugerville. There's also potential for long-term upside for properties near the Samsung and East Austin Tech Corridor. Next, we'll examine the east of I-30 corridor, I-30 corridor, where affordability is becoming less affordable. So east of the 130 corridor saw a huge surge, but now affordability is becoming less affordable. Prices climb faster than local wages, eroding the affordability advantage. Commutes feel longer and disconnected from the actual Austin city core, and infrastructure hasn't kept pace with development. Sellers are now offering concessions to attract buyers, and new construction is heavily competing with existing homes. Appreciation is cooling compared to pandemic highs, which is pretty much everywhere in the Austin metro area. There's still tons of potential with continued commercial development around Tesla and that whole corridor. But micro-location, again, matters more here than almost anywhere else in Austin. This brings us to the big picture of Austin's new buyer priorities. So we've seen how specific suburbs are cooling, and now we'll look at the bigger picture. What today Austin's buyers really want. It's clear that migration patterns have fundamentally changed. People are more strategic about where they choose to live. Buyers are prioritizing shorter commutes and less daily stress, valuing their time over just getting more square footage. They also demand better schools and develop infrastructure, seeing those as non-negotiable for their families. And finally, walkability is huge, and being close to some amenities are driving decisions more than ever, showing a clear shift towards lifestyle quality. This means affordability alone isn't enough anymore. Lifestyle, commute impact, and neighborhood nuance matter much more than they ever did, especially now with Austin being in such a strong buyer's market. So I want to summarize these shifts with some key takeaways. So what does all of this mean? We've identified strategic buying opportunities across the Austin metro that balance affordability with lifestyle. For example, Manor still attracts investors, but caution is key. You need to buy smart and be patient. Georgetown shows strong buyer demand closer to I-35, but those further out communities are moving much slower. Cal and Buda offer newer homes at pretty good prices, especially for long-term owners who can manage the commute. Pflugerville's walkable neighborhoods and areas near the Samsung Tech Corridor show real promise for the future. So as you can see, it's not all doom and gloom here. Leander has a strong long-term outlook, with micro-location being critical to avoid being a little too far out or isolated. The east of 130 corridor has significant potential with commercial development, and again, location selection is paramount. You don't want to be too far away. And Bastrop offers strong long-term value if you pick the right subdivision, and especially near Highway 71. And you got to be careful about buying a resale in a new construction neighborhood. The bottom line with all this is the Austin market rewards strategic location choices that balance affordability with lifestyle quality, infrastructure, and commute considerations. Thank you so much for joining me today. For your time and attention. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I know we've covered a lot, but I hope you have a clear understanding of what's going on in Austin's evolving real estate landscape. Seems like every month is a new set of challenges in certain areas. But remember, Austin overall rewards strategic location choices that balance affordability with lifestyle quality. So I'll be diving into new videos here on the YouTube channel. So subscribe for more. But better yet, if you have any questions or need help with your real estate needs, I'd love to help. Phone numbers below, or let me know in the comments.